Hey, before I kick off the podcast, I just want to shout out Next Door Clothing. Next Door, a clothing brand based out of Bondi in Sydney. They're making really nice jeans and shirts and hats. So go and check out their full range at nextdoorsydney.com. They're also artists, so you can go and check out a range of art. They put on rad parties, and I love what they're doing. So nextdoorsydney.com for the full range. Hey, it's Shan here. This week I speak with Simon Wills. Simon, I guess he can best be described as a pure skateboarder to his core. 40 years of doing it, 40 years of being part of skate communities, and it's absolutely amazing. Like a lot of my other skateboarding related episodes, we actually talk very little about skateboarding. It kind of ties into a lot of his life experiences, but we're not purely talking about it at all until the very end. We sort of discuss a few events that have happened in skateboarding throughout the year. But fundamentally, it's just all about Simon's life, which is fucking amazing. He's just so raw and so real. I mean, there was just so many layers to this conversation. I literally didn't even know where to start. I didn't even know what questions to ask him. And I just found myself sitting back and just in awe of his journey. Simon's very open about his early days growing up in government housing in the southwestern Sydney suburb of Campbelltown region. He discusses, when these government housing areas are clustered together in large spaces, the culture that emerges from that kind of infrastructure, and it's really interesting. And yeah, it's tied into violence, drugs, antisocial behaviour. It seems to breed it when that occurs. Simon is very open about his drug use in this episode. His drug use story is like none I've ever heard before. It's really interesting. I don't even know if I want to call it a drug addiction that he had, but maybe I'll let you listen and see what your take on it is. But it's really interesting. Simon does talk a little bit about his family breakdown. He also talks about the importance of making amends, and a very interesting moment happened in the podcast this week where he made an amends to a good friend of his that was sitting in listening and was there on the evening. And it was just this really special moment that I just didn't expect. I don't think he expected it, and I don't think she expected it either. And it was really amazing and healing. I could just feel it. I got goosebumps actually when it happened. So I don't know, man. Sometimes magic happens on this thing. So we're joined by a good friend, skateboarder, social worker, university lecturer and tutor, Mr. Tim Conan. Just such a classic dude, such good vibes. He brings it, and I loved having him. He weighs in with his perspective on things, and it's so valuable and so great. This will be my last episode for the year. I never usually do this. I produce weekly episodes, and I have been doing so for over 3 years. So I've decided to give myself a break till the 8th of January. I'll be back. I've got some epic episodes lined up in the works for next year. The podcast is going from strength to strength, and I have no plans on stopping this thing anytime soon. But I do value time and space with my children, with my friends, and with my passions, which are skateboarding, surfing, and combat sports like MMA and boxing. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that stuff. If you want to get notified about episodes, just subscribe and follow on Spotify and Apple, and then you'll know when the next one comes up. But in the meantime, there's a back catalogue now of 178 episodes to catch up on. And I know Christmas and New Year can be a delicate time of year for a lot of people. It's a very fun, festive time, but I know for a lot of people there's a lot of pain and isolation involved for them. And I do advocate for Lifeline on this episode, but I'm also going to advocate for, if you're feeling really lonely and just want someone to chat to, send me a DM. I will get back to you. I'll make an effort to always get back to people that DM me. So you're not alone. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and enjoy my episode. Oh, actually, and I've always got to add, as always, this episode is dedicated to my children, Clementine and Otis, and you know why. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and enjoy. Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks.
Yeah, good to be here, man.
Whoa.
Dude, I'm pumped.
Three, two, one. Alright, let's do this. It's so great to be here. Can you describe where we are sitting right now?
We are on the south coast and we are in my little granny flat / mini ramp room, which is, I'm an old man and this has always been sort of a childhood sort of,
Mini ramp room.
Yeah. It's loving it, man. Loving it.
It's a slice of heaven right here.
It is. It's the dream little ramp that I've always been after. So man, it's good times.
How big is this? Like 4 footer, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of 3 to 4 foot, and I think it's pretty wide though. It's like maybe 16 foot wide, 18 foot wide.
Nice, in a little garage.
With coping made by the gods.
Yeah, no, man, I'm staunch on my coping. Hey, like I grew up with like chunky coping on backyard minis and stuff. So
what's the optimal like millimeters away from the ramp? The actual.
Man, I just like a good bump. Hey, like as long as I can bump my wheels off it, and I just feel that it forces you to learn proper technique. You know what I mean?
What do you mean proper technique?
Just if your coping's more prominent, I just think you've just got less leeway with just like rolling over when you're learning your rock to fakie tricks, your grind tricks and stuff like that. If you've got real sunken in coping, you just got a lot more. Whereas when it's real chunky, you got to make sure you rock it in, rock it out type thing.
Gotcha. And like you're going to hang up if you don't do it right.
Correct. Yeah, man. So I've always been into just a bit more chunky coping, just so I'm just making sure I'm not being sloppy and lazy.
Would you describe yourself more as a tranny guy over the years or a street dog?
Probably a street guy, man. Like I grew up like out at Campbelltown. There wasn't, any transition out there. Sorry. Wasn't any transition out there at all. So yeah, man, we grew up skating mani pads and that was pretty much it. Ledges and all that sort of stuff. We definitely weren't like the gnarly handrail guys. I didn't experience that until I moved down to Wollongong.
Oh, right. So you'll have a go at a handrail.
I was never a big handrail guy, but yeah, like when my body was able-bodied enough to jump down that sort of stuff, yeah, but man, with the sort of guys that we've grown up skating with, definitely cannot hold myself on the same level as, the Sam Gileses and I was definitely never that rail dude. I was definitely more, probably a bit more tech. And I don't know, I always enjoyed just being fruity and just trying to steer clear of what was happening at the time and, just utilising. I've skated for a long time, man, like 40 years,
I was going to ask you, how long?
So, probably 40 years, man. Like, as I say, when I was probably about 6 years old, they built, like, a little Mexican hat bowl, like no coping or anything, but just, like, a little Mexican hat bowl. And I just remember as a little kid, like, driving back and forward to Macca's or the mall or whatever with me mum and being in the car and being too little to go there and stuff, but just being so hyped and just, like, looking out the window, you know what I mean? Like, and just seeing so many dudes wrapped around this, like, little bowl, and... that's definitely what sparked it for me, you know what I mean?
That excitement.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. Well, definitely the most exciting and relevant stuff for me as a little kid, as far as growing up in sort of the ghetto type thing.
The ghetto?
Yeah, well, Campbelltown was pretty hesh back in the sort of 80s and 90s, There was a whole town made up of government housing, you know what I mean? So there wasn't any private sort of housing there. It was literally made up and very segregated into nationalities, so one suburb would be Islanders, one suburb would be, Asians, one suburb would be Aussies. Obviously everyone in the exact same boat just trying to do their best, you know what I mean? But with such a lack of communication and stuff like that, obviously there'd be a lot of, negativity and things like that growing up with, race and, just low socioeconomic, type demographics, man. Or,
What demographic did you fall into?
Definitely low,
Low socioeconomic?
Yeah, man. So like I grew up around Bradbury and Aids, which were definitely like hella high crime areas and that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, like as a little skinny white English kid, it was like pretty gnarly growing up. Like in a super aggressive environment. You know what I mean?
Dude, I worked at Lemare High for 4 years. Lemare High.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and we drew in a lot of students from those areas you mentioned.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, Lumiere. So, yeah, Lumiere is definitely one of... I mean, Campbelltown's lovely now, It's all private and they've, dispersed all the housing and stuff like that, so...
Where?
That's
what I get curious, like, where?
It's just been an integration program, man, you know what I mean? So, currently a lot of the housing is in high-rises and stuff in the Campbelltown area, but... a lot of it has just been sort of integrated into mainstream suburbia as well, which is the way that it's always, in my opinion, supposed to have been,
I think so.
Yeah, man. Like,
when someone who's grown up in an environment where it was very much clustered, is that the best way to describe it?
Yeah, man. Like, as I say, I don't really understand, the psychology behind, the reasoning why it was done like that. Which, I mean, there was awesome aspects, which, all them different nationalities sort of really held their culture, which was a beautiful thing, like awesome thing. In a way, it made everyone like very open-minded after a while, you know what I mean? Just for the fact that, when you've got, cultures that aren't forced to integrate, they're staying so cultural within their own sort of little parts of the town. Yeah, but obviously what goes with that is a lot of lack of understanding each other. And
Did it just feel like a big melting pot of nationalities? Or were they within that, were they then congregating in specific groups?
100%, man.
Okay.
So... Well, yeah, I mean, everyone would hang out in their local suburbs, you know what I mean, and no one would really cross paths in other people's suburbs. Well, it wasn't really safe to do so, you know what I mean. So, but then obviously you had Campbelltown's main centre and stuff, and that's where all the shit would, sort of go down type thing, just because that's where everyone would sort of be forced to cross paths a little bit, So, yeah, definitely took lots of beatings as a young man.
Lots of violence.
Yeah, man, crazy violence. Because low socioeconomic, the only thing for a young dude to do is you're either like a tough guy, like a fighting tough guy, you're either that criminal wannabe type dude, or, I mean, in anything else that you may aspire to do, you sort of keep it on the hush-hush, you know what I mean? Just because the whole culture is... just you're either that tough criminal dude or you're going to get chomped up,
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure on a young person to try to, try to fall into that format.
Yeah, dude. Like, I bailed out of it all pretty quick. Like I moved out of home when I was 13, and luckily through skateboarding had some like really awesome mentors that were, a fair few years older. And I was, definitely a wayward sort of little kid and, delved into all the unhealthy activity that Campbelltown had to offer, you know what I mean? So lots of drugs, man, lots of, just skateboarding and, like, dude, pretty much from the age of 13 to 19 just lived on a steady diet of, like, acid, and that was it. It was just...
It's not a bad thing.
Man,
sorry, I shouldn't be sarcastic there.
To me, like I can never advise that path to anyone because everyone is so totally different, and anyone's brain chemistry can go any which way. To me, it was. I'm so thankful that, like, yeah, man,
because it's quite young.
Yeah, dude, like, as I say, like, because I suppose I didn't have heaps of, like, super mature guidance around me. Don't get me wrong, I had some older mentors that were rad, but these dudes were still 18, 19, I was like 13, but they were still kids themselves, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
It's just interesting. Like, I want to go back a few steps because there's a fair bit to unpack there. going back to this clustering of low socioeconomic and government housing, I guess a question I had was, what are some of the underlying cultures that emerge from that? And you've already highlighted the fact that it becomes criminal behaviour, violence and drug dealing are predominant.
Yep.
When you're within that, because I didn't grow up in government housing, I did grow up in a single-parent household, and spent most of my life falling into a low socioeconomic category. I went through university on a low socioeconomic scholarship. But I've never lived in those complexes that you see. Okay, so is it more status that you're trying to achieve as a safety mechanism?
Bro, it's all run on fear. Like, do you know what I mean? So everyone's just scared of the next dude. So everyone presents like they're not scared, you know what I mean? So, but the thing is, it was the culture where you couldn't really get away with just talking tough because there was a lot of tough dudes, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I suppose you just adapted the ability to be very cautious and street smart and... You know, I was never like a tough fighting guy, obviously. Like, I'm a very slim dude. But, yeah, you sort of do have to mentally build yourself to the point that you are prepared to at least get yourself out of a situation or try your best to fight you out of a situation or whatever, you know what I mean? So everyone was into fighting, man. Like, even the dudes that weren't tough dudes or, you know, that stupid mentality, like everyone learned how to fight, and that was just, yeah.
So interesting. Sorry, Tim.
I was just thinking something, because you're pretty articulate, you're obviously a pretty intelligent human. How did that serve you back in the mean streets of Seatown?
No, look, man, like, as I say, I was the type of dude that got along with everyone, man, you know, like, obviously, like most of my mates that I grew up with, definitely more of that sort of tough criminal type guys. It wasn't until I was old enough to sort of venture out of the family home and start skateboarding more that I started crossing paths with people that were a bit more mellow and not as, you know what I mean, like skateboarding definitely opened up, just a universe of people that were definitely more nurturing and accepting of each other.
Is it safe to say you were born into that lifestyle? Do you mind if we go back further and ask how your family ended up in that situation?
Oh, look, man, as I say, my childhood as far as family life was all good, you know. Like, I come from like a proper English family. Yeah, man, like I definitely didn't have any like dramatic family life or anything like that. Mum and Dad worked, I mean, but they moved over to Australia in their mid-20s, you know, so they were starting out, you know what I mean? Like they come over and, I suppose just starting to build, and that. So I think they ended up in Bankstown first and then, straight out to Campbelltown. So, but as far as my home life, man, I grew up, I got two sisters, mum and dad. Like, my dad was a dick, but like, I look back on it now and he's still a dick, but yeah, like, genius as far as like the way he built me to be able to work my way through that sort of, you know, environment I was in.
I find it so interesting because I grew up in Nowra. Okay. And there was such a fight culture down there as well. And one of my previous guests, who's now a professional MMA fighter, who actually just won an Australian title, Jarrett Wilbraham, he grew up in Nowra as well. And the reason he discovered he was good at MMA is from street fighting. And we were talking about this fight culture that emerges in low socioeconomic areas. And then when I left that area, I had that mentality and I realised, like, that's actually not normal. But we think it's normal. So how did it impact you as you started to get older? How did you start to relate to the world, would you say?
To me, it was a massive relief.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man, because I was never a tough guy or never, do you know what I mean? Like, so I, you know, was mates with everyone. I'd hang out with, you know, the more soft dudes. I'd hang out with a lot of girls, like, in my early teens, you know. Once I sort of moved out of Campbelltown when I was probably would have been closer to 14. That's when I sort of really just sort of got away from, just that gnarly, energy. It was just overall an energy, man. You know what I mean? Like the whole, doesn't matter if you were going to school, didn't matter if you were hanging out with your mates, didn't matter if you were whatever. It was just like a very heavy energy. And exactly like you just said, you don't realise until you get out of it, and then like you're looking around and going, oh, like
That was gnarly.
Yeah, people are smiling at you, and you're just like, what's this creep got on his mind, man? And then it's like, oh, he just wanted to say hello, like, and it does take a bit of a transition, So
Yeah, I spin out sometimes when people are really nice. I'm like, why are they so nice? How can they be so nice?
Yeah, but that's the way I always felt inside, man. So, I always wanted to just like make people, like feel good about themselves, dude, opposed to,
If we go back to when you were a little kid, what kind of little kid were you?
Anxious.
Anxious?
Yeah.
Were you sensitive?
Yeah, definitely, man. Like I was, I grew up with two sisters. Like my dad was like a super hard worker and, was super committed to, as I say, they were sort of new to Australia and, so, yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, because I guess what I'm alluding to is like, as life starts to dish out like fucked up experiences, we start to put up these barricades.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, and you do, like as I say, my dad was super, super staunch, but I think he was just like pretty aware of like the environment that we're in, and sort of prepped me not to be too wussy when I was very wussy. Do you know what I mean? Which,
same, dude.
Yeah. Oh man, like as I say, I was super sensitive, and but as I say, like I had to box throughout my childhood, and like you know what I mean, just all that sort of stuff, So, but later on in life, man, like so thankful, so not to get into fights, obviously, but it's just the mental understanding of what hard work is and what that mental push is, and just to overcome barriers and stuff, which obviously is transferable through everything you do.
It is, dude. And you sort of mentioned that you were doing things at 13 that your 18-year-old friends were doing.
Well, no, my 18-year-old friends were the ones that were saving me from doing bad stuff with my other 13, 14-year-old friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was your little peer group.
Yeah. So as I say, I grew up in like the very early 90s of like as far as being a teen in southwest Sydney, which was like the massive heroin boom, like from like Cabramatta type thing, and towns are only 15 minutes away type thing. So as I say, for young experimental kids, like it's almost impossible to buy alcohol and, get someone to buy you cigarettes or whatever, but you couldn't walk 3 steps without someone asking you if you wanted heroin, you know what I mean? So, man, like just there was a big crew of us, like, 60, 70 kids that within 5 years there was like 5 left, you know what I mean? Just very young children, just, like ripping into heroin. Like
at what age, if you don't mind me asking?
Like, 13, 14, 15.
And how long did that last for?
Not very long, because there was no education to it. There was no guidance, So out of a group of 40 kids, man, like within 3 to 5 years, like maybe like 3 or 4 made it out without sort of, everyone died, man. Like,
are you kidding? Were you injecting it?
Yeah.
That's brave at a young age.
Yeah, well, it's a momentum thing, So as soon as kids, I don't know, as soon as the momentum starts, it's very hard to. And I, I'll be honest, and I definitely used to rip into heroin and stuff when I was younger, but to me it was never like an addictive thing.
So
like,
you get heavily strung out on it?
No, nothing, not even, man, it just wasn't that sort of thing to me. Like I didn't view it as an escape, or like I wasn't heavily traumatised. I was an anxious kid, but I had nothing in my childhood that was super dramatic that I had to escape from or anything,
That's the question. Were you doing it to keep up with your peer group, or were you doing it to numb out and block out?
No, I was just like curious, man, you know what I mean? So like I said, with the acid thing, like the main time that I would use heroin would when I'd be on like a 3 or 4 day bender on the acid, and I'd just come home, and that was like a nice way to wrap it up on purpose. You know what I mean? Like where you didn't have to just sit there and just feel like shit for, you know what I mean? Like, so it was just like whereas all my mates and everything that weren't into skating as much, you know what I mean? Because that's all I do, man. I just eat so much acid and could end up anywhere, bro. Melbourne, like anywhere, dude. Like, do you know what I mean? So,
really?
And that's all I do, like, throughout my whole teens, man. But which was rad. Made homies all over the country, like, you know, learned how to skate better and, you know.
On acid?
Yeah. That was like...
Okay, now that you're in your 40s, do you feel like there's been a residual effect of using acid?
Yeah, man, like definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
In what way?
I mean, not as far as acid. Like, acid has definitely given me more positives than negatives. And again, I'm not sort of saying that's for everyone. And definitely, you know, any skate rats that are, you know, that's, you know, I know it's become a more prominent, you know, like in media and stuff at the moment. But for me, it worked, dude. It just gave me the ability to identify solving pathways on so many different levels, dude. Like,
really?
Yeah, man. Like, man, I've never had like you know, I'm sure it gave me some form of mental health sort of issues later on in life or whatever, but what it actually gave me to be able to develop what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be, like I'd be lying if I said it was a negative experience. And when I say, like, man, I wouldn't have had not one straight day in like 6 or 7 years. Like I'd sleep for like a day or two and then just wake up and just eat.
Like microdose?
No, dude. No. Like, so it's
mega dose.
This is so interesting. Like a macro dose regularly.
Oh, man, so I'd, like, sleep for 2 days and then, like, I'd always just have sheets, man. And, like, because your tolerance gets up, you know, like, so for the last, you know, few years, you know, you'd literally just sleep for a couple of days and wake up and eat, like, depends on what you had, you know, like 5 tabs or whatever, and just, yeah, man, just figure out, like, slowly where you wanted to be and what you wanted to do. And the reality is you could be anywhere, man. You could be in Brisbane. Could be in Canberra, could be wherever you wanted, you know what I mean? So,
did it make you feel like you're present?
No, but that's...
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the present moment?
No, but I think I really needed a break from being in the present moment. I think up until the age of 13, I felt like truckloads of pressure, and I think my body really, you know, was very thankful to that sort of conscious sort of switch off. Yeah, man, but as I say, I was definitely the whole time very active and, you know, building friendships and, you know, skateboarding heaps and travelling heaps and all of that sort of stuff. But, yeah, I'd be lying if I said it was something that I regret doing or, and as I say, extremely excessive, extremely sort of, you know, but yeah, panned out for me, man. Like, because I can clearly identify the mental tools that it's given me.
But it's almost like you're a testament to the fact that, look, maybe it's not as harmful as people have originally made out, because, you know, you're coherent. You're, you know, managing life. You know, it's not like you've ended up, I don't know, maybe you have, but I don't know.
No, man, no.
You know what I mean? Like, it hasn't given you any brain damage, would you say?
No, man, no. I think, you know, again, and that's why I would definitely never, you know, sort of market it or, like, in any way that I think it's, you know, because everyone is so different. You know, I had homies that ate acid, you know, 6 or 7 times and it just buckled their head.
They lost their mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's
not for everyone, but...
Not for everyone, but for me, like, dude, if I was to eat acid now, like, straight to hospital, I reckon. Like, do you know what I mean? No way, dude. You know what I mean? But as a young teen mind, that was just, you know, full of youthful exuberance to, you know, take on... And as I say, man, I was pretty burnt out, dude. You know, by the time I was old enough to get out of the house and found a crew and, you know, substances and things like that, man, yeah, like it was, it was such a relief to... And I would always be by myself as well. Like I'd never be hanging out with anyone. Like just literally.
So interesting.
Because adolescence it's a really formative time where your identity starts to develop and you really start to work out who you are and what life is all about. And in doing that, you do work a lot of that out through the people that you're hanging out with.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, so I was a bit of a weirdo when I was younger, man. Like, I sort of felt like I identified who I was in a split second when I was probably 8 or 9 years old and had such a clear visualization on society from that moment and just knew that I was never going to be a part of anything that I was told to do, basically.
Man, I'm so glad you're on this podcast. I'm sorry. Okay, and then here we go. Well, what? Like, why?
How old are you, Shan?
I'm 46 next month.
Oh, dude, sweet. Do you remember them World Vision ads that used to be on in the 80s?
Yeah.
You know, like with the little like Ethiopian kids with the swollen tummies and stuff.
And they all those rock stars did a song like
Yeah.
the world, make it a better place.
That's the one, bro. And like it was such a big push in the 80s, man. Like, and I just remember watching like one of them ads come on. And like I just asked my mum and said, like, how far away is that? Like, and she's like, I don't know, about like 10 hours on a plane or whatever. And I was like, how come it's so jacked over there? Like, and she's like, oh, Simon, it's horrible, but that's just the way the world is. Like, and I was like, but why have we got two like brand new cars? And like, we've got all, you know, like, as I say, we lived in the ghetto, but we didn't struggle, man. You know what I mean? Like, and I just become unbelievably disgusted with everyone, my family, everyone.
Really?
And just knew that I just was never going to walk a path of, like just
like material possessions.
Yeah, just not just that sort of stuff, but like I just don't understand how a huge portion of everyone's life is not benevolence. Like, I just don't understand how just the way that society works is just not more human focused. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and don't get me wrong, I understand the way the world works and the money but yeah, man, like just because it's there doesn't mean you need to take part, man.
Or that kindness can be driven out of you to benefit your fellow person.
No, well, that's right, man. Like, and you know, like obviously with skateboarding, which has pretty much been my whole life, dude. Like, even from a super young age, man, I just saw it as a tool for kids to feel included. Do you know what I mean? The skateboard doesn't have a lot of prerequisites as far as being a certain type of human. You know what I mean? So,
not many rules in skateboarding.
There's not, dude. There's not, and that's the beauty of it, you know. And you know, before I got better at skateboarding and all that sort of stuff, you know, I was just one of them like little kids, and then I sort of started progressing sort of a bit quicker than the little crew that I was like with and stuff like that. But the value that I got out of skateboarding never was getting better at it. It was like just the skateboarding, the dudes, the thinking about where he's going to go the next day with it. And it's like, man, it doesn't matter if you do good kick flips or no kick flips or just want to hang out or just want to contribute in some way, take a photo, hang out, cheer your mates on, whatever. It's like, yeah, dude, like it's just, turned out to be this like no rules thing that, I don't know, man, like anyone can take part in that.
What was your first skateboard?
Bro, so as I say, my first skateboard was this, like, it was wood, but it looked like, from memory, like this little penny type thing. I would have been like 3-4 years old, man. But what I do remember is my older sister, her boyfriend, he was trying to get me all hyped on skateboarding. This is early 80s, dude, like 82, 83. And he was trying to get me all hyped on skateboarding, and we found this old skateboard, so as like little project together, like we painted it back like black, and went down to the Huge Asians and got one of them like hologram stickers of a cobra and like stuck that on, and that was another one of my first memories, man. Yeah, dude, it was pretty flash, man. Like, Yeah, dude. So, and yeah, I just remember that, like, at the end of the little cul-de-sac that we lived on, there was just like a footpath, like, that just bombed down this real steep, like, footpath down to the hill, man. We used to just, like, literally just, like, two people would, like, squeeze two of them big fat old boards, like, on the one footpath and just race down the hill and stuff. So,
That's so sick.
yeah, man. And that was when we were, like, 5, 6 years old, man, you know. And then they, as I say, they built the bowl and
Which bowl?
Bradbury Bowl.
Okay. Is that the one that was like a donut?
Yeah,
It had a thing in the middle?
Yeah, Mexican hat.
Mexican hat. Yeah. I skated it.
Oh,
Do you
dude.
ever know a guy called Phil Seeley?
I know the name, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, about our age. Anyway,
The-
Crazy Phil.
His parents didn't
Trent.
used to own the music shop. No, different
Anyway.
dude.
But anyway, that's so interesting. Well, what was your first proper board then? Can't remember.
No, it was actually a classic, dude. It was, I can't even remember whose pro model it was, but it was the 40 ounce, the blind 40 ounce.
Okay. Oh, the blind 40 ounce. Was that Rudy Johnson?
Yeah,
Johnson
I think it was,
the
dude.
Rudy Johnson
yeah.
one.
So that's the
Yeah.
first graphic I remember. Yeah, but yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
That was a classic.
Yeah, and I actually bought it for like $5 off one of my crackhead mates. Like, that was a few years older, and he just wanted
Really?
beer or like something type
Was it
thing.
stolen?
He skated, man. He was one of my first skate influences. Brad Gambier, shout out
There you go.
if you're still alive, dude. Like, hopefully you are, because you're always a nice guy. Yeah.
What was high school like for you?
Scary, bro.
Scary.
Yeah, man.
Were you a good student? Or were you on acid?
Well, as I say, I was out of school at the end of, like, maybe 3 months into year 8, and that was the end of my school career, dude. Like, that was it. You know what I mean? So,
How are you making money?
oh man, like, I was just on like youth allowance and just riding the government train. You know what I mean? Just as a trashy little kid, like, man. So, I don't want the drug thing to override the skateboarding thing, because that wasn't the case, you know what I mean? Like, I was so hyped on skateboarding, and
Yes.
I could either, like, hang out at Bradbury Bowl and keep going back to the flat where everyone was smacked out on heroin laying around in dark flat, or I could eat heaps of acid and just end up anywhere, meet homies all over the country, like... And I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
What
like,
do you mean end up anywhere? Like, would you just like jump
dude,
on a
I'd jump
bus?
I'd jump on a train to Melbourne. I'd jump on a train to, like, wherever, you know what I mean? Like, I'm awake. I'm going to be awake for like 5 days, man. Like, when you're awake for 5 days, there's lots of hours to transition.
Took a trip, literally.
So you were just going on adventures.
Yeah, dude. So excited, man. Like,
Why don't
time of my life.
Why don't most people just do that and be excited about life?
Well,
normally,
that's what I tried to, you know.
have we had the life beaten out of us?
Well, look, man, yeah, I do believe so. And look, I'm not, you know, dismissing the way anyone lives. Like, I'm a very firm believer in that. Everyone is just doing their best, man. You know, whether you're doing shit and you're an asshole or whatever, you know, in the grand scheme of it, but that level and that standard of best to me is dog shit.
Dude, and I think questioning the status quo takes a lot of courage, and we don't do it because we're all in it, and I'm in it 100%.
So am I, man. I'm not removing myself from, yeah.
And I don't want to sound pessimistic, but I'm a high school teacher, and I know Tim works in the welfare realm, and I often have moments. I mean, I've been teaching full-time for like 16 years. I often have so many moments. I'm like, I'm spending every day of my life with other people's kids, looking after their kids, while someone else looks after my kids and teaches my kids and spends hours and hours. What? Like, shouldn't it be the other way around? Like, shouldn't I be with my kids? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It doesn't make sense. Like, so
but yeah, I don't think people can, like, beat themselves up too much. I mean, we're conditioned, bro. You know, we're conditioned through everything that we absorb. I mean, namely the education system. You know, like, I'm not a, you know, I don't mean it really, because you just mentioned you're a teacher, but I'm not a big fan of the education system, just through my own experience and, like,
there's a lot of flaws.
my own children's experience and whatnot.
Yeah, but I also think it's just representative of a flawed societal structure.
Completely,
And
bro.
that's my point. And
Completely.
I know it's a very big debate and a very big argument.
yeah,
it's
but
multifaceted, but it's still okay to talk about and identify it. Like, I just don't. And that's in my opinion, I think the advent of a mental illness epidemic that has been growing steadily for the last 20 years is just the byproduct of a structure that doesn't work.
Yeah, like, is there other contributing factors, do you think, like, to the mental health sort of issues that we're sort of currently facing around the Western world?
Yeah, just people are miserable. Like, and then when people are miserable, they harm their children through their misery, whether it's directly or indirectly.
Mm-hmm.
And then those children, those early years of their childhood are so developmental, they become traumatised. And then to numb the trauma, they're drawn to numbing behaviours.
That's right, and it's a vicious circle.
And then it's this cycle. But it's such a mind-blowingly big problem. I get overwhelmed even just talking about it, you know. And you could talk about it forever. But I'm like, no, fuck it. I'm still going to talk about it.
Yeah, oh, man, and it needs to be. You know what I mean? So... But look, I just think there's so much disconnect with everyone, man. You know what I mean? Gay, straight, fat, skinny, black, white, man, woman. Like, it's just like, dude, like, yeah, everyone just whatever, man. Just smile and give each other a high five, man. Like, regardless, you know what I mean? Like, it's so much division in the world, man, and I feel that's by design. You know what I mean?
Are you still passionate about that kind of thing?
100%, man. You know, but I'm personally passionate. You know, I'm not the type of dude that wants to, you know, go yelling my opinions in people's faces or anything like that. But you know, as I say, I mean, skateboarding's a great tool, man, you know, not to, you know, be pushing views on the people, but I suppose my views are only being nice to fools, man, you know, like, so, yeah, man, I'm happy to push that view to younger kids, you know, because I just don't see the harm in everyone getting to slow down just that little bit and just make sure everyone around them's all right, make sure everyone feels included, make sure everyone, you know, and that idea of, you know, oh, that dude rips, or that dude, you know, or he's got a hot girlfriend, or like, it's like, yeah, good for that particular dude, man, like, you know what I mean? But that's got zero to do with all of us as a group, man, you know what I mean? And man, my whole sort of push is just wanting for kids to feel like they're a part of something.
Right.
I like what you said there about inclusion, about how, like, skateboarding is very different to lots of other, I guess, activities or sports for children and young people as they're growing up. And that idea that it's very hard to make a comparison against one person to another person. In your group, when you're growing up, and I guess maybe into, you know, young adulthood and all that kind of stuff, you were doing some gnarly skating though, right?
Yeah, man, yeah.
So what did that feel like?
Yeah, dude, like, as I say, I was like so passionate on my skateboarding. I was never like a gnarly guy. As I say, once I moved down to Wollongong, because I moved from Newtown, from Campbelltown when I was 14, and then only lived in Newtown for pretty short time, 6 to 8 months, and then a bunch of my friends from Newtown actually moved to Wollongong for uni and stuff. So I ended up moving down here, just sort of followed the crew and knew there was lots of good skateboarding happening with Fairy Meadow just being built and all of that sort of stuff. So ended up venturing down here and become addicted to the gong straight away. Like, have never experienced skateboarding like that, never experienced authenticity in people like that, never experienced like inclusion, and like, dude, it was, yeah, man, because as I say, I suppose I wasn't in Newtown long enough to really adapt, you know. I just had my crew and the people that I hung out with, but once I, you know, because from 14 to 21 I was in Wollongong, and that's where I got to meet everyone.
Skate community very strong in Wollongong. Shout out the skate community in Wollongong. You rule. You rule.
It's just a lot of good people in this town in general.
Oh, dude, man, like, if I know this is going to sound a bit corny and stuff, but man, if everyone like knew what the skate community in Wollongong means to my actual being as a human, like, it's crazy, bro. Like, as soon as I moved down here, as I say, everyone was just cooler. You know what I mean? Like, because even my mates from like Campbelltown area that ended up in Newtown, like, they were staunch dickheads, you know. Like my best mate, which I'm not calling you dickhead, Ryan, but he was like an aggressive big islander, like, that was just his favourite thing was knocking fools out, you know what I mean? So, but he was a skater as well. Like, he was a big part of the Wollongong crew, you know, like, eventually. Yeah, man, but once I got down to the gong, man, like, as far as just how nice and inclusive everyone's. So the other thing was, man, it wasn't even the skate stuff that got me down here. It was actually the punk scene. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Oxford Tavern?
Well, man, everyone was so little, dude. Like, I was like 14, you know, so it was the youthy, bro. Like, you know, and all the bands were, like, underage as well, you know. Like, I mean, even dudes like BE, and shout out BE, yeah, like, they had all their, like, punk bands and stuff, but they're all, like, 14, 15, dude. But, man, it was sincere as shit, dude. Like, no one, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I come from the punk scene in Sydney, and I thought that was, like, a bit weird, and then got to, like, Wollongong and was like, yeah, this is what my idea of punk is, man. Like, real humans that are ready to talk about what they want to talk about without... You know, it was just raw, man. It was raw and it was authentic, and it was like, yeah, a massive part of creating who I am.
You play music?
No.
You were just in the scene?
Yeah, man. Well, I was just into doing anything that was not what I was being told to do, and obviously the punk scene caters for that.
The anti-establishment.
Yeah, man. They're just the most sincere, sweet, beautiful humans. Yeah, they might look like dirty... Well, not look like. They are dirty rat bags, you know what I mean? But, man, try and find more legitimate humans, you know what I mean? Sure. So, and, yeah, passionate, man. I'm all about passion, dude, you know. So, you know, I used to be in awe of... Because, man, like, if I was to try and do something musical, I'd be so embarrassed and, like, just, you know what I mean? Like, and I was just so hyped that they just didn't give two shits, man. They didn't have a clue what they were doing, and they created something amazing that impacted a lot of people, and it was from absolutely nothing other than energy, authenticity, and a secure environment. And, dude, like, that's... If you can keep... that platform clear in your head, it can, assist you through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Tell us about the skate shop that you started.
Yeah, so it wasn't me. I was like just getting like a bit of flow from Globe, just as a skateboarder. And like I wasn't a big pro skateboard guy or whatever, but I throughout all my years always got like just a bit of flow, you know. I was always on flow teams for companies and things like that. But yeah, man, so I was already involved with PSC, which was a Melbourne-based retail skate store, and they were killing it in Melbourne for like a 15 years, man, before I got involved with them. They've been around forever. And they were owned by a dude by the name of Mark Grayson, who is one of the most amazing humans I've ever crossed paths with in my life. He's the type of dude that you would like love to hate because he's just like stunning to look at. He's like one of the best big wave surfers in the country. Used to be a pro skater, like, and you just wish he was an asshole, but he's like the nicest, most sincere dude.
God
like,
damn him.
I know, dude.
Good at everything.
Yep, that's him. But so anyway, I crossed paths through him just as like a bit of a... Well, actually, how I first got introduced through that was... Do you know Nigel and Dave Cameron? Or Nige Cameron that owns Totem Skateboarding?
No, I can't say I do.
Well, anyway, and shout out to Nige and Dave because they're two of my most important humans in my life. But so I met them. And Dave's girlfriend was doing some management for PSC, or I think they were like trying to set up some stores in New South Wales or something, and she was like their New South Wales-based chick or whatever that was, trying to get the stores underway or whatever. So anyway, I got involved with PSC at a real early stage, and the long story short is that it was just run and sweep with the ownership of Mark Grayson, and then Globe wanted to buy into it. So Globe bought into it. about 6 months after they bought into it, Grayson was like, oh, this has gone way too sort of like Westfields shopping retail-y. It's sort of lost the sort of skate heshness of the stores. So he bailed out and started Fast Times. So, yeah.
Okay,
so
it's all making sense.
Yeah. So then Globe just owned the stores. And then the Hill brothers, who own Globe, they are extremely smart businessmen and extremely rad humans, man.
Like, you know, their dad created the Hills Hoist.
Yes, I do know that. I hadn't heard that. I hadn't heard that for a very long time.
How's that for a fun fact, eh?
Yeah,
can't get more Australian than that, eh?
Dude, that's a yeah.
So they are savvy businessmen, entrepreneurs.
Yeah, man. Like I've only met them a few times. Not like I know them personally or anything, but yeah, man. So, but what they had been doing over, a decade or so is picking up brands that, had gone under, very, very well-known brands, and just maintaining that branding and slowly building it through flagship stores. So, brands, man, I might get some of these wrong. Like there was like 18 brands that they ended up selling off. But, like Hurley and like Lonsdale, Everlast, Stussy, like all the stuff that you're starting to see go through Kmart and Target and all that sort of stuff now, So, but what they did was just, they just bought up all them companies and then just slowly rebuilt them over a decade and sold them all off together to Pack Brands, which is Bonds. Hence, you're starting to see them in all the mainstream retail now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but they did it for like a disgustingly large amount of money, and I'm not even confident saying the amount of money because there's been so many different, like figures that I've heard that it's not really my position to say, but it was for a ridiculous amount of money. Pretty much, the type of money that Globe just went, we're not doing anything that we don't have to do no more.
Okay.
Okay. So
what did that mean for you?
So what that meant for me was they tried to proposition it to me like it was like, oh, we love you so much, Simon. You've been with Globe for so long, like we're going to set you up and we're going to like just sign all these stores over to you, man. We're just going to give them to you. And, like I was extremely like, man, at that stage in my life, I'd only come out of, like a divorce, like a couple of years. I was a couple of years into it, and I was so I was not well, very, very, very unwell on drugs.
If you don't mind me asking, like, while you were managing the store?
Yeah, man, do
you mind if I ask what kind of drug situation it was? Was it
ketamine at that stage? Yeah.
Interesting. That is psychedelic.
Yeah.
So I thought you were gonna. So heroin wasn't even a thing.
Nah, dude, it was never. Never grabbed me. I liked it. Like, man, heroin. So and again, I'm not gonna lie, dude. A shot of heroin is the nicest feeling thing on us. But it was never anything that I was like, I want to do that tomorrow.
But you felt.
I was energized. I was an energized kid, man. I didn't want to lay around. Like dark, shitty flats in the middle of like housing commission in like, you know what I mean? I was like, nah, dude, like.
But you had a propensity to become addicted to something like ketamine.
Then I did have trauma to deal with though. Totally different stage of my life. This was in my 30s, man. You know what I mean? So.
Can I ask?
Oh, just divorce, kids, man. Like I always got paid to do skateboard stuff, so I was always a stay-at-home dad. And when all that went to shit, like as much as I love my ex-wife, and again, shout out to Karen because I love you. You're awesome, an amazing mum. Yeah, amazing mum. But yeah, shit got pretty wild there for a few years, So I went from being like a stay-at-home dad to like struggling to see the boys, at certain stages, and it was pretty hard. Yeah.
How did you deal with that? I'm just curious. Like going from seeing your kids every day to not.
Ketamine, bro. Ketamine. Like, yeah, man. Like, see.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to jump in one more time. Mm-hmm. For those that are unfamiliar, like. What is ketamine? A lot of people want to describe it, define it. Is it a What is it? I know it's a psychedelic personally, but what does it do?
Yeah, so there's two main types, and I'm not trying to make out that I'm some crazy chemist and know, but basically as far as what humans, will take, there's two types. There's veterinary ketamine. So that's...
AKA horse tranquilizer?
That's the one. And then there's pharmaceutical ketamine, which is, often used in hospitals for pain, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was definitely into veterinary ketamine, and that definitely was more of a micro dosing. Well, not micro dosing, but yeah, dude, it was my girlfriend at the time. My friend here, Kate's just nodding. Yeah, look,
Wow.
I had this girlfriend at the time who I look back and I love. She's amazing, man. But she was so loose, dude. She was
like to partake in that sort of stuff.
Oh man, she was just one of them chicks that would just the amount of substances that she would put in her body all day, every day. Man, she'd drink 2 bottles of Jack Daniels a day, just straight, just while she'd be doing ketamine all day, eating pills all day, smoking weed all day, and she just never lost in life, man. She owned multiple businesses, massive businesses.
Was fully functional.
Dude, she just never lost, man. You know what I mean? But she was involved in all her mates were all it was all porn industry, and it was so it was just she wasn't, but she was involved with a porno business, yeah. So it was specialized sort of emo porn, tattoo kid porn. You know what I mean? But a lot of that stuff was based in the US. You know what I mean? But she had a partner in some shit that they had going on. That was all. Yeah.
Was she happy?
Man, she was one of the most amazing chicks. A lot of people didn't dig her because she was a zillion miles an hour, dude. Man, when I first met her, dude, and saw what she used to put into her body every day, I just thought that this was maybe a new thing for her. And within a 6 to 3 month period, she was, man, I just watched this chick just kill it in life, man. Kill it in life. And I ended up in a relationship with her 6 months after I left my kid's mum. And that chick just nurtured me, dude, for 3 years, man. And as I say, she was so mature-minded. She was weirdo, you know what I mean?
Nurtured you in terms of
emotionally,
post-divorce.
Yeah, yep. And all I did for the whole 3 years was whinge about my ex-wife, to her. You know what I mean? And she was just there.
She supported you.
Oh, dude, she was just the best, man. She was a total weirdo, you know what I mean? Especially with, yeah, I don't know. She was sweet with me, hooking up with all her mates, and she was just
So it's an open relationship.
Yeah, well, she just was more realistic in the sense of this dude's just come out of a 10-year marriage, man. You know what I mean?
So
she was realist, you know what I mean?
She let you just, wow.
Which is not anything that I'm ugh, but Kate will tell you I was the hell slut for 10 years. Yeah, terrible, but not in a cool way, not in a good way, in a very mentally unwell. Unwell way. So it wasn't. Yeah, dude, I used to just sleep with so many people, dude. It was terrible. But
oh man,
that's all I did, man. That's all I did every day.
I got so many questions. I don't know I can't keep up with you. There's so much to unpack. Wait up. I want to go back a few steps. So, were you functional on ketamine? So were you maintaining the management of a skate shop whilst using ketamine?
Yes.
You weren't going into K-holes and stuff like that?
Yes.
And then you were going, what?
Well, they don't last forever. So, you know what I mean? So,
I'm just curious, what did that look like on a practical basis, dude?
Look, so Jeannie, my girlfriend, the loose one, she was the other side of Globe. She was the business side of Globe.
So she worked for Globe?
Yeah. NPSC as well. So I was the culture manager of all the flagship stuff for Globe in New South Wales, and before I ended up with the store signed over. So I my only job was to like track around the stores whenever I felt like it and just make sure the right product was in the right stores. You know, there was that many stores and the demographics of the different towns that they're in was so completely different, you know what I mean? So just making sure the fresh shit was in the fresh areas and the hash shit was in the hash areas and whatnot, you know, so... Right. And yeah, team management as well. So basically,
the team riders.
Yeah, like just so I wasn't the direct Globe team manager or anything like that. So that's always been Anthony Mapstone. But so I did all the just like flagship stuff, but then the team management for PSC stores in New South Wales.
You know what I find interesting about Globe, and Tim, you might feel the same way. Like I don't see them as a very predominant brand, but they've been around forever. And they just seem to never die. Is that because they're just so well funded?
Yeah, that's true.
Is that what you think? I don't know.
Look, I think that, you know, they've moved away from the core skate thing, and I think that, you know, because we're all such passionate skateboarders, we magnify and really look at what's happening in that sort of skate realm, and Globe has not kept up in that core skate way. What they have done way better than all the other brands is market to a more mainstream, you know, dad audience. They're an extremely smart business in the sense that, I mean, you look at the way that they have kept their toe in the water with skate, and it's been sick, dude. You know what I mean? It's just that they haven't really sort of jumped around with, you know, the big fashion trends and stuff, you know, but they've always had core riders, man. They've always paid their riders really, really well. Yeah, man. So
the Australian market's not that big, though, really.
No.
You know, if you have to like just stick with the cool dudes who skate, you need to open it up to all of the extras and the add-ons.
Bro, like
whoever else can jump on that bandwagon.
100%, man. And the unfortunate fact is, man, like core skate is not keeping a retail store open. Do you know what I mean? The only things that keep a retail store open is that crossover to mainstream, to that 40-year-old sort of mainstream dad market.
Skaters don't have any money.
Yeah.
They're out skateboarding. They're not working.
I'm going to jump in and do a plug for Kingpin, because shout out to those guys. They're core skate and they've kept it going.
Dude,
you know, they've got to be one of the most core skate shops.
I love Kingpin. I was in there today. Can I just? I'm sending Marlon a hug down this microphone right now. I love you, Marlon.
Yeah, I love you too,
Thank you
Marlon.
for the board, Marlon. It's rad.
Yeah, I told Alice to say hello to you the other day, Marlon. She was here skating last night.
Rad.
But yeah, Kingpin, dude, what can you say, man? Like, you got to just have a look at Joseph, mate. He's been around for a very long time. He's established himself as one of the biggest professional skateboarders in the country for a good sort of 2-3 year period there in the 90s, and as if that shop's not going to rule.
Joey, yeah.
You know what I mean? Joey's
and Guy Miller. I mean, Guy.
Yeah, Guy's exactly the same. You know what I mean?
So many good photos over the years.
Rad dudes.
Juice clothing.
But when you've got an understanding of the actual skateboard side of things like that, I think, you know, if they've got that little bit of business sort of acumen. And
like you just said, I often think that. I think it would be so hard to just be core skate and not, you know, have to try to cater for the mainstream.
No, and look, I mean, the reality is not all areas have that sort of core scene to continue, you know what I mean? Like, so as far as like any sort of skate shops that don't have that really established skate culture, I mean, Wollongong has got a rich skate culture, man.
Right.
Like, oh, dude.
Very lucky. Very lucky.
Man, you look at the dudes that have come out, like, just because I'm old, bro, like 44, man, you know, so I've watched Fairy Meadow and, you know, go from the Barrys to the Adlingards to the Nathan Dents to the Joey Dodds to the, you know, Sam Giles to the Marty Garottos to the, like, you know, Danny Campbells to the where we're at now with all these kids like shredding now, you know what I mean? And
that was such an epic timeline. Can you throw Steve Allen in there?
Oh, dude, Stevie.
Sorry, and Otis. Remember Otis?
Otis, dude.
And Mick. Mick?
Yeah, Mick Lee. Yeah, but definitely shout out Steve. You're one of my favourite humans on earth, dude.
Shane Say.
Dude, so I was hoping I got to mention Shane Say, dude, because he's one of my favourite humans. I still keep in contact with Shane. I love you, dude. But man, the way you used to skate, bro.
Crazy with that big, like, dark curly hair.
Oh yeah, massive big black.
There's too many, and probably sorry to anyone that didn't get mentioned.
Oh man, like if we sat here for another 30 seconds, bro, like you could just rattle off just the most epic, like, man, you only really, everyone was amazing, but Nathan Dent, dude, was just, for me and my influence, and we've become good mates, and we've always, you know what I mean, but he's been my skate god. Like,
how clean did that guy skate? And I remember the first time I seen him when he was young, because we used to drive up from Nowra. And I remember seeing him and we were like, is that Jake Brown? He used to look like a young Jake Brown, you remember? Except he was like just different sort of skater, but so solid on everything he did.
Oh, man, he just, dude. Yeah, man, at the time, dude, like it's just, as far as that type of skateboarding, as, you know, that clean sort of new wave skate park skateboarding, man, there's, not many people could touch him in the world at that stage, dude, you know, like he was legit, man, like... If you search for some old photos of that dude, man, like them switch frontside flips over like the small hip that are like head high, man. Like, dude, like and then blindside kickies over the pimple and stuff, just ridiculous. But yeah, man, as I say, man, as soon as I saw that dude, I was just like, fuck, that's not.
Listen, I want to go back a little bit now to, look, you mentioned being separated from your children. I know it's a bit of a heavy topic. I just feel like it's quite relevant to a lot of people.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Myself included. Can you describe, you know, that period of your time and that... Look, I just personally think it's very healing for people to hear that you went through a separation from your children. I mean, I don't know how to approach this in a really kind way.
Oh, bro, please.
Sorry, it's a gnarly question, but I feel a real burning desire to ask it.
Nah, rip in.
I mean... Describe that grief.
Dude, it's just like pure trauma. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I'm the type of dude, as I say, like we were touching on a little bit earlier, I don't strive for anything in life other than appreciating what's around me. You know what I mean? And to have my like two little grubs, like as soon as I had them kids, it was just like, boom, nothing else mattered. You know, like I was married to like a really up there politician. And...
So I'm laughing because you're possibly one of the most interesting people I've ever talked to.
You just dropped so many interesting bombs here.
Yeah,
man.
and I'm going to get to the porn stuff in a second with the girlfriend, the porn industry. I want to talk about the porn
You can't leave that alone.
Sorry, keep going.
Sorry, where were we?
You were married to like an up there
okay. So as soon as and she wasn't a maternal chick at all, you know, she had a lot of trauma growing up. Like, I won't delve into any of that, obviously, but a lot of trauma growing up, and she's not the most nurturing person. Beautiful person, hardworking, amazing mum, but yeah, not the most nurturing person. So, and she was super career driven. So basically, like, you know, gave birth and within 6 weeks was like, boom, there you go, dude, I'm out. And spent, you know, majority of her time in Canberra during the week and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, I just built one of these, which I'm pointing at the menu ramp, like out at my place out at Campbelltown. I just had me two little bubbers. They're only like 18 months apart. And that was it, man. I just had all my homies over every day. It was like they had like 20 dads every day. And, yeah, man, it was good times. So it was awesome. And then... the relationship was shit before the kids even came, I think. But, ended up, like, all falling to shit and stuff. And, yeah, man, like, I mean, I'm not going to delve into, you know, women get what they want. Like, that's not where I'm coming from. But, yeah, it just sort of seemed like I was pretty powerless to be able to make some really important decisions regarding the boys. And... as much as I love their mother, she's the first to say that she's a nasty psycho when she wants to be. So yeah, we went through lots of trials and tribulations. You know.
Would it be safe to say that it was a very emotional time, and you know, people act on emotion and maybe make decisions that are. You know,
man, I look back on the psychology of everything that she does, and I just want to hug her. You know what I mean? Because as much as it really destroyed me, and because it was like super nasty, and again, I won't get into it to personal stuff because she's involved. You know, But yeah, man, like, dude, like I love her, man. Like, I just look at, she's
So
dedicated
cool.
a life to our children. You know what I mean? Like now, like she married and had a kid with one of my good mates when I was growing up. He's a legend dude. But you know what I mean? Like, man, I just walked straight in the door, give her a kiss on the lips, walk into my son's room to hang out.
Even now?
Yeah, now. Like,
It's really nice,
dude.
man.
It was a lot of hard work to get there, man. But anyone that's going through, like, you know, just head noise of like heartbreak and like just all of that stuff, man, just know, dudes, that like, man, firstly, try and slow down because it's only just a moment of your life over your whole like existence. But yeah, man, I'm a believer in time heals a lot of, you know.
Well, it sounds like it has, the fact that you have that kind of relationship with your former wife.
Mm-hmm.
But how would you describe your relationship with your children all these years on?
Well, there was no way that she was ever going to keep me from him. Like, do you know what I mean? So, like, man,
Yeah.
we were like the stereotypical low socioeconomic couple, mate, punching on out the front, and you know what I mean.
Oh, you had all that stuff happen.
Oh, dude, she would like sink blades into me. She would like towards the end, like, but she's rough as guts, bro. Like, you know what I mean. So she's like an Indigenous chick. So like her job's chief advisor for Indigenous affairs to the Prime Minister's office. That's what she was doing. I don't even know what she does anymore. But yeah, that's so. But yeah, she's a very. Yeah,
cool. That's a great job.
Yeah. Oh, she's awesome, man. She's a full powerhouse, dude. You know what I mean? But rough as guts. Like, you know, grew up in the ghetto. You know, just a very driven.
Well, that's amazing.
Oh man, yeah, dude.
She was
like
able to get out of that, and
she had the most traumatic childhood, bro, and just. You know, I mean, just become so focused and just worked her ass off. And yeah, she's a legend.
That's
dude.
impressive.
Yeah, she is impressive. She's impressive in many facets, man. Yeah, so. But yeah, definitely a hard time, dude. You know, like.
And then you said like when it sort of started to settle and you repartnered, but then you said you kind of like had a period of time where you were sleeping with a lot of women. Mm-hmm. Was it counterproductive to your emotional growth and stability? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Big time.
Why?
Just because that's not me as a person. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and the drive to sleep with heaps of people was not a sexual drive. It was, oh man, it's going to sound like a little bit arrogant, but I was in this like really fortunate position where like every day someone new would just come over and bring me food and watch me smoke weed and pump me and leave.
Some people aspire to that lifestyle.
No, it's very unhealthy, man.
Was it before dating apps?
Yeah, it was. It was. Wasn't it, Kate? Yeah.
How did you do it then?
Just because I was running all the skate shops. Like
just asking for a friend.
Yeah. Just because I was like running all the skate shops and I was so heavily in skateboarding, and I had a missus that was in that industry, and that opened up a whole world of partying with people that would, and they were all very wealthy, like it wasn't ghetto like I was used to, and like the level of drugs is like crazy when you got more money and stuff like that, you know. So but look, that chick Jeannie, like there's two people that I 100% would not be here if it wasn't for these two people. One is her, Jeannie Thurton, and the other one is Kate Smith.
Nice.
I treated this girl like shit for like so many years, man, until she bolted from me and went to England. But she was like my best friend for years, and I was such a buckled mess, and I would just do the most horrible things to her all the time.
So for those that are listening, Kate's actually here. She actually brought us some pizza. Thanks, Kate. And so that's really nice, man. What a nice little moment.
Yes, because I haven't seen Kate for a long time. But yeah, I would have been a goner, dude. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just two people that just caught me when I fell, when I would be falling 250, 300 times a day.
But they're the special ones, man.
Selfless, bro. Selfless. Do you know what I mean?
Gifts from God, I reckon.
Yeah. Oh, well, from somewhere. You know what I mean? It's to have them two people at that 5-year time frame, like in my life, where shit could have went so wrong, man. Like so wrong. And to have people that just allowed me to go through the motions, and because I do bad shit, man. Like bad shit.
What do you mean you do bad stuff?
Oh, like
drugs.
No, like just being a pig, man. Like you remember that time we picked up that massive German chick in the city, and I made you drive her back to my house with us. Just gross stuff. Like me and Kate went out, and we went out, had a heaps nice night and stuff, and you know, like hanging out, everything was nice and stuff.
Like on a date?
No, not like me and Kate would hang out, but we'd never hook up. Like we're just but we like,
just good.
I was into her, but she was so sweet that I couldn't. I was being such a pig, and she couldn't be another one. Like because
you had too much respect.
She was just too valuable. You know what I mean? So,
oh man.
Yeah. So,
would you say? I can't believe I'm going to ask this. Were you like a sex addict?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is funny because it's got nothing, for me, it had nothing to do with sex, like wanting to get, you know, nothing to do with it.
Well,
like it was just...
What was it doing for you?
Just a monotone switch off, you know, just to be hanging out with someone, you know, because, dude, sometimes I'd be hanging out with like 2, 3, 4 different people within a 24-hour period, you know what I mean?
But
so
didn't it create more problems in your life?
Nah, because I was just that off tap that's all people expected of me. Like there was I never really got into dramas where people would get cranky at me or...
What about attached?
Nah, because I was so straight out of the gate, dude. Like, dude, like my whole spiel was just like, I've got zero diaper. Like this is about underpants and stuff. If it's not about underpants for you, then like... Let's just...
So you're quite up front.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Like, brutally staunch, man. I'm all about people's feelings, bro. Like, even when I'm feeling shit, man, I'm not going to take someone's, like, you know, intimate stuff for my own purposes, bro. That was never... Like, man, these are fast sort of chicks that were into the same stuff as me, you know? Like, oh, not me, but they were into... Yeah.
How were you with your own company at that time? Did you spend much time on... your own?
Yeah, I did.
Or do you keep yourself busy?
Nah, I've always been pretty good with my own company. You know, but as I say, when you're that buckled and that just unsure of everything in life, yeah, like, because as I say, like to have like Jeannie and Kate, like that, man, they took the brunt of it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like 5-6 years between the two of them, you know what I mean? So... That's a pretty heavy support network for a long time. So
I get curious about these people as to why were they willing to take the brunt of it when a lot of people would be like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, it's so... Man, you've got no idea how rude and arrogant I am, bro. Like, I look for the opportunity to scream nasty stuff in people's faces. Like, so
why do you think these women... And sorry, Kate, you're right here. It feels weird talking about it like that, but... Why were they so supportive? Do you think it was just because they genuinely loved you as the person you were?
Well, I think there's no other choice, like, for what they showed me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, dude, like sincere authenticity, no matter how much I just did mindless stuff, like never to be nasty, you know what I mean? But my head was just so not there that... You know, I mean, retrospectively, I mean, I've tried to reach out to Kate for 10 years and she still won't have nothing to do with me. Like, this is the first time I've seen her in...
In 10 years?
Well, no, we've seen each other maybe 2 times in 10 years.
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
What an interesting moment.
And it's even gnarlier because I've never really relayed any of this to Kate. So, which is cool. She never wants to talk about it. I try to talk about it with her all the time, but she's just like, no, I don't want to think about, like, emotions and because she got like cranky at me and bolted overseas. So.
Yeah.
Which is understandable because, as I say, it was like wasn't even until like 6 months later, and then just went, oh my god, she was just like awesome.
Tim, how are you?
The tangled webs we weave.
Oh, bro, this has gone away.
I feel like I can't wait for your memoirs. Your memoirs are going to, like, you know, how many volumes will there be?
Statistically,
Pilsy volume 11.
I know. Statistically, you're only halfway through your life. I can't wait to see what the next 44 years.
Are we going to talk about skateboarding today?
Dude,
Yeah, a bit of skateboarding.
Listen, I tried to talk about skateboarding with Marlon the other night. Like, that's all I went there. I mean, we're in a skate shop. I'm like, I just want to talk about skateboarding before the podcast. Yeah, man. Yeah, no worries. So the whole thing was about, like, just his mental health and just life and stuff like that. But
He is a mental elf. He's a very festive character.
He helps my mental health.
he does.
He's the purveyor. He's the purveyor of fine medicines for self-care.
See, Pilsy, I don't know you that well, but from what I'm gathering, I just feel like you're quite an empathetic person, like almost like an empath. Like you definitely. But then what I find very interesting about you is then you then back it up with like, I'm a pig and I can be so mean to people as well.
Because in general, like my hatred for people is far more prominent than, like, I can easily identify who my empathy is worthy of, and they'll get my heart and soul.
Interesting.
But outside of that, I'm not interested.
Okay. So you choose your people very carefully.
Yeah, man, and then I think it's pretty easy to identify in our society, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that, you know, don't have an even platform, you know, disability sector, you know, as I say, low socio-economic, you know, that type of stuff. So that's where I like my energy to go in this sort of stage in my life.
The world isn't fair, so you're trying to even it out a little bit?
Oh, look, man, I just think, like, man, I've got a 21 and a 19-year-old son that are that outstandingly amazing. Had a career in skateboarding for like 30 years. I don't want nothing else, man. I want nothing else out of my life other than what I can possibly offer to the right people, which is a lot of energy when, you know what I mean? Like, you don't realise how much love and energy you've got for people when you don't want nothing yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm so intrigued by you, dude. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, what a fucking banger of an episode to end this year on.
Yeah, cool.
I really mean it, man.
Yeah, man. Well, I've been digging on the T8T for quite a while, man, and just sort of looking from afar, bro. And yeah, man, I'm super hyped.
It's funny because I think that these days it is really hard to find authenticity in a very content-rich world. And it's amazing how much people are drawn to that. And you guys were just going on about Marlon. And I was in the skate shop on Thursday night. It's packed full of kids. They've got a lounge in there now. I know. Fucking worst idea ever.
Oh, dude, I said...
I'll never leave.
But it was dead sad. Like, I just felt that you could just feel they were all there for Marlon.
Because Marlon is there for all of them.
And that's exactly what I realised. Like, and I watched, and I don't know. I think I want to do a sociology degree. I'm very interested in human behaviour, and I just couldn't help just like quietly watching him. And he goes around and he gives every single person some of his time.
Oh, dude,
you know, and he would give them more if he could. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, you can't teach that.
I think he's genuinely. I think he's genuinely interested in people, and in that connection. And when people sense that, they're like, they absorb it and they want more.
But because you've got experience, like your background is in
I'm a social worker,
and welfare. Do you feel like sometimes those people though have to really manage themselves in terms of burnout and emotional burnout?
I think it depends on what context you're living your life in. Yeah. And again, I mean, you know, Pilsy, you talked about adapting to your world. Everybody's always adapting to their world all the time. We're always like, you know, it's like response, stimulus response, you know, we're always adapting. We're doing that. I think that say if Marlon was working in a concentration camp, he'd need to look after himself a bit better because he'd be, he'd have the life sucked out of him. But if that is possible, I feel like we've started the Marlon fan club here tonight.
Well, I'm a fan. That's it. You know what I mean?
Chairman, secretary, treasurer.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I noticed about and don't get me wrong, Marlon's one of the very few dudes that I don't know quite well and have known since he was very young, you know what I mean, as far as the Wollongong crew, especially the dudes that are, like, killing it, you know what I mean? But, dude, like, it's an energy thing. He's, like I was talking about before, like, I think he's very attentive to just ensuring everyone feels included. And dude, and in essence, that's for me the beauty of skateboarding is just a platform. Whether you're good, whether you suck, whether you're fat, whether you're skinny, no matter what your vibe is, dude.
Do you know what I saw?
Here's some homies to come and sit with.
I see you at the skate park. It's something that I do a little bit of as well. But when you see somebody at the skate park and they're trying to learn a trick or they're looking at something, you go over and you give them a few pointers and some tips and you help them out. That's like true mentorship, and there's not a lot of people who are actually brave enough to sort of go, I can see that if you put your foot like there or you stand a little bit back a bit, that's going to work for you. But that sometimes people are a bit afraid to make that connection with people, to reach out in case, what if that person says, get out of my face, you old weirdo. But think about tribal cultures. How did the young people learn? They learned from the people who were the warriors who were skilled. They knew how to throw the spear. We don't throw spears, but we do throw some, grinds and some flips and some, whatever.
And that's the thing. And as you just mentioned, Tim, like even in, like a different context, whether it be older cultures or whatever it may be, you know what I mean? There's so many, like they're learning skills on so many levels, you know what I mean? They're learning the skill of the foot placement, which is minimum, but what they are learning is learning how to engage with a stranger in a, intimidating environment, overcoming that because hopefully that stranger has the right communicational skill set to put them at ease and, you know what I mean, in an already, crazy high-paced environment. And then if you can make that tiny little connection, you know what I mean? But the thing is, they walk away building confidence, a clear understanding of the skate park, clear understanding of the skateboard, and with a smile on their face. And it's like, if that's not worth 30 seconds of your time, then... yeah. They
usually come back too and ask you for another trick tip, don't they?
Bro, it turns into a nightmare, man. I've had some nightmare situations with skate kids and but again, dude, like it's totally worth it because, it's
you got to feed off their stoke though, right?
I mean, dude, you can't diss it.
I mean, over the years, how many kids have you taught to drop in on something?
Thousands.
And it's like you see them when they do it and like you get just as stoked as that. Like, it's like you've learned again every time.
Dude, it's a beautiful thing. I did it on my skatecation a few weeks ago, and it was just, it was amazing at Harden Skate Park.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like, and because that, I don't think you feel more alive ever than when, like, you've done your first drop-in.
Yeah, like overcoming that fear.
Dude, like how horrifyingly, traumatizingly mind-raping is any of that stuff.
Overcome the fear.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. Like, kids are doing it in like 20 minutes these days, and it's, with the right guidance, and it's you just see how much mental torment they go through and how accomplished they feel afterwards. And I don't give two buggers if they never skate again after 2 or 3 months, but if they can take them tools of like, this is hard, there's a next step to this. What's my next step? Man, you adapt that, dude. You'll figure most stuff in life out.
Fuck yeah, dude. Good message. It is the best message. Yeah, you break that mental barrier down.
Oh, bro, it works with everything.
Transfers to everything.
It works with everything, bro. Emotions, work, careers, friendships. It works for everything, man.
It just makes you so resilient, don't you reckon? Like, because then you come up against something else in life that's hard, completely unrelated, and you're like, I can take that on. I can take it on, and
I could take a couple of life slams.
Life slams,
and
dude.
then what did I learn from that life slam? Don't do that so much.
Just move my foot a little bit this way, aka
lean more forward.
Lean more forward. But then it's like, but the other thing is talking about, you take a life slam, and what do skaters do? Like you get back up until you land it.
Give it another shot.
Yeah. You just
One
keep
more
getting
try.
back up.
One
Just keep
more
getting
try.
back up. I'm just gonna
One
get
more
back
try.
up. Just one more. And then you got a homie who sticks with you for trying to film it for hours, and then you're in it together.
It's a bond. You
It
form.
is. It is. So much more than rolling on a skateboard.
Did anybody do any skateboarding this year that we know about? Anybody famous? Anybody famous do any skateboarding? Any
been a few
competitions that
guys.
have been around that we wanted to talk about?
No, it's been a big year skate-wise, and like I was hoping we could talk about Soti, but we talked about it before the podcast, and I just found out who won it.
Yeah.
Tyshawn.
Go Tyshawn.
Well, how do you guys feel about that Soti this year? Be honest.
He's got one of the biggest ollies in the game, but it's not my flavour of skateboarding. Yeah. Not my flavour as a geriatric of the sport. I would have quite happily embraced Spanky. No,
Spanky.
Spanky was in there.
Embraced Spanky.
I would embrace the Spanky. Well, he's a handsome chap, but I loved all his wall ride stuff. But for me, not that we should put these things into competitions, because how do you judge an art form? But T-Funk is the guy for me.
It's kind of like we're just basing it off a video part now.
Well,
but he did ollie that fucking thing at the China Banks.
The China Banks mega ollie.
It's a vote now online. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked it better when Jake Phelps just picked it.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Thrasher's gone stinky since Jake's gone.
That was always going to happen, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
I think the essence of Thrasher, it's that more sort of gnar stuff and that more creativity and style, and whereas I think that some of the skateboarders that
I kind of feel like you need to be the editor of Thrasher.
I can't read or write, so I don't know how that's going to work. But look, I think that I loved like the essence of gnar, which comes with skateboarding. It's that that metal crunching against concrete, and seeing T-Funk get up from some heavy slams and do it again. It's like how I said one of my favorite skaters is Figgy. I've said it before, because he takes a mad slam and he gets up and he has another crack.
And I think that's what I used to love about John Cardiel is like, he was so, like, it was just every time he skated, it was almost just like he was just hanging on by a thread.
He's going to the hospital, or he's going to land it.
And I feel like T-Funk sort of like epitomises that as well. It's like,
cut from the same cloth for sure.
I don't know. That's my sort of vibe on T-Funk. And then there's Nigel, who, like, let's face it, his video parts, those last two that he put out, like, that
nobody can ever skate like that. He was the best. He should have got Soti, because nobody can do 500 hammers in a row like that.
Yeah,
no one.
It was just, mind blowing what he was doing.
Nah, for my chest and my soul, I would have. Oh man! Realistically, for the last 5 years, it's been Louis.
Love Louis.
Yeah, but realistically, as far as mathematics, Nigel. I am a little bit disappointed that Tyshawn got it, even though the stuff that he's doing has never been seen in skateboarding before.
It's ridiculous skateboarding. He's amazing.
He's amazing.
But it's again like, let's go into the art gallery and say who's the best.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Look, let's have a look at this Van Gogh.
Yeah.
And stick that next to a Jackson Pollock and sort of go like, which one's better? You can't say.
Dude, the only beautiful thing about skate, like Soti or any skate competitions, is this. The ability to chat with your mates and, no one takes it. Some people take it seriously, but in the grand scheme of it, whatever. People know. Even skate comps hold no real weight as far as the, moralistic fibre of skateboarding. but they're bloody fun, and it's a great opportunity for everyone to catch up.
The best thing about Sodi is all the bloody video parts that come out. It's like just bombarded every day. There's so much content. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I know. For like 11 months of the year, like skateboarding's all right. And then
everyone drops all their parts.
Yeah, and then it's December and it's like, November. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's what's emerged over the years.
Yeah,
like that.
very strategic.
That's a bit annoying, actually. I did like that the America dropped a new vid straight after all the Sodi shit closed.
Did you watch it?
So, well, yeah.
I watched a bit of it. I was a bit out of time, running out of time. But yeah,
again, Spanky's in there.
You're a big Spanky fan, aren't you?
Well, you know me and wall rides.
You like wall rides?
That guy's wall ride, Slappy Wally wall ride,
You're
Slappy McSpinny stuff. Very, very clever.
He doesn't very fucking well.
I'm more impressed with how Spanky fell off and more importantly, how he come back, man. Like, It was a gradual, hard-working, authentic... Like, any skateboarding took a massive turn, you know? Like, I mean, obviously, as the little America kid, he was all chomping big rails and then, yeah, man, he sort of, I think, ended up a bit strung out and fell off, and then but the way that he just come back with so much maturity in his skating, and like, yeah, man,
he ground his way back, and he's a pleasure to watch. You're like, what's he going to do here?
No, he is. He's one of my faves, man. But yeah, more so for the fact that he's just developed his own authentic style of skateboarding that's like so aesthetically pleasing to watch type thing, and it's like he sussed all that at like the real back end of his skating. Like, I don't know. I just dig watching the dude's whole evolution, you know.
Here's my theory. I just feel like they become masters.
Yeah,
like
dude.
ninjas, where it's like they've just spent their whole life refining their art, and then if they've looked after their body or haven't had a major injury. You know, like I look at Andrew Reynolds these days, you know, and like, he's not throwing himself down the stuff he used to throw himself down, but he's a master.
The boss is still the boss.
He's a master. It's so refined, all his movements, everything, the way he throws his board down when he pushes, and just like masterful. You can't, even all these new guys coming through, they can be really good, but they're not masters yet.
No, man. Like,
that's
you can see Reynolds do any of his tricks as a silhouette, and you would know that it's Reynolds straight away.
Yeah. Just refined.
Yeah.
Anyway, how are we feeling? We all feeling okay?
Man.
How's your back?
Yeah, no, all good.
My back's good.
That's good. My bladder is really full.
Dude, that's a big podcast problem. So many times I'm always like, and I get to like about an hour going, but I'm okay tonight. Yeah, but you have to hold it.
I drank 4 beers.
Dude, is that all?
So far.
Okay. I must admit, Tim, that tan makes you look very...
I got me. Well, I had a sesh with my man Pilsy here and Stib and Kano at Fez yesterday, and I just hung around there way too long.
Yes.
Getting irradiated.
It's great. It suits you, man. Suits you. You look like a surfer.
Radiant.
Listen, man, it's been epic, and I do ask all guests to come to the podcast with a cause they want to support or advocate for. We didn't really discuss it prior, but I'm going to advocate for something. But have you got anything off the top of your head? Like a charity or even a philosophy on life, or it can be anything?
Oh, bro, as you've heard over the last hour or so, man, I'm just passionate about people being a bit more attentive to each other. I try to do that in my professional life as well. Like, currently I'm working for One Door Mental Health as a recovery coach. And, yeah, I'm just, man, no real direct, philosophy or charity or anything like that. I just think if people, man, 5% of your day, dude, just extra, of... just making smile at people, be nice, and from there, shit's going to build, dude. And you can build yourself into such a beautiful existence, like, you know what I mean, where you just feel so full and like of radness, like life. I don't know how to put it, man. You know what I mean? But
you are so rad.
But the thing from there is then you've got truckloads to give back. You know what I mean? Once you're like full, man, like an overflow, and you can start to fill other people up. You know, so yeah.
I think it's free, isn't being kind free?
Apparently.
Being nice to somebody is actually free. That's pretty good. Good value.
It makes you feel fucking good too. It's like a life hack, you know. What's that noise?
You got some fireworks
I thought it was
going
fireworks. Yeah, no, it's a good one. And it is Christmas. We're going into the festive season, and while I'm very aware that it's a fun time for a lot of people, and it can also be quite a lonely and isolated time for many people, so I'm going to advocate for Lifeline if you're in a desperate state, and also I'm going to advocate for, if you're feeling lonely and sad, send me a DM and I will endeavour to respond to you, talk to you that way. So I'm here for you if you want to reach out, okay, through the Christmas time. Yeah, that's all I want to say. Anything else, boys?
No, man. Thank you so much for your time. It's been super lovely getting to know you a bit better, Shannon, and Tim, obviously, I've known for a little bit longer. But, yeah, man, thank you so much.
No, thank you. And I've got a present for you.
Rolling.
Dude, I got you the... It's the Trait and THT collab tee.
I was just eyeing Tim's off before.
Artist, friend and past guest, Kane Hospital, a.k.a. Trait, made us a beautiful T-shirt with his amazing artwork where he's...
Such a legend. What a ripper skater too, by the way.
Legend.
Dude,
Thank you, bro.
I was watching that guy skate. He's got one of the best pivot to fakies in the game, that guy.
Oh, seriously? He owns it. You should see his switch crooks. They're amazing.
Did you know he pivot to fakie that barricade up in the mountains?
I was there.
Oh, yeah.
I think I might have...
No, I was there. He's probably done it a few times.
I filmed him doing it.
Did you?
Oh, mate, no, I filmed you doing the switch crooks. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I was up
Such
there
a
with
good
him
dude.
when Ryan shot a photo of him or a sequence of it. So sick. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, and thanks for the pizza. Shout out to...
Yeah, I'm going to rip into that.
All right, dudes. I don't know. We're going to leave it there. I don't know. I don't want this to end.
Stay rad. Stay rad.
Yeah, man. Have some time off. We'll do a part 2.
You're definitely coming back on. Most interesting guest ever.